Welcome back to Abu Dhabi, capital of the United Arab Emirates and venue for round 4 of X-Cats, an international powerboat racing championship for extreme catamarans capable of almost 200 kilometres an hour. This is a fast-developing metropolis with a booming financial services sector, a growing tourist industry and some of the finest sporting venues in the world. Fitting then that the final round of the series should be held here at the Abu Dhabi International Marine Sports Club. After just 2 seasons, X-Cats already boast the largest fleet of boats in any international powerboating championship. Following a rearranged round 3, the teams had just 1 day to turn the boats around in time for the season finale. Despite this, all 17 boats made it back to the marina on time, so once again teams from across Europe, the USA and the Middle East would all be ready to take part.
It's definitely the most exciting offshore powerboat racing in terms of number of boats, number of nationalities. It's a close combat. It's very close, and it's very hard to predict who's going to cross the finishing line first. We've seen as well that the quality of the boats, the way the teams are tuning the machines, so it's they're taking quite a good step forward and professional step.
Last time out, the X-Cats provided some more close racing as series leaders Extreme Marine started from pole, but Fazza quickly snatched the lead, with Qatar team and Abu Dhabi Racing 3rd and 4th. In search of their first victory of the season, Fazza then pulled clear until disaster struck. Their boat got out of shape and they turned in too early, running between the 2 boys that marked the course rather than running around them. That gifted the lead back to Extreme Marine. Fazza had only a short delay while they got back on track, but it was enough to drop them out of the top 3. Meanwhile, Lux Media moved up to 2nd place, the Americans taking their 2nd podium in just 3 starts. But nobody could keep up with Extreme Marine as they secured a hat-trick of wins. Huge disappointment for Fazza though, as they were later excluded for that navigational infringement, putting an end to their championship hopes.
What happened is because it was a brand new boat, we didn't have a lot of time in the boat, so we didn't do a lot of corners on that boat. So when we came on the corner, it just hooked and just spun. So we have to be more careful on the turn because it's a wider boat. The forks tend to drop when you drop the speed. So it's a new boat, we're just getting used to it, and you know, things happen. You learn the things in the race from a new boat. So no matter how much you do practice in the boat, when you enter a race, it's a totally different thing. You always go to your limits. So we went over the limits slightly, and that's what happened, we spun.
Away from the drama at the front, Rock Racing had a strong points finish in 8th place in only their 3rd X-Cats race. But with limited resource, it had been a real struggle to get the boat ready for the final round.
We're not the highest resource team compared with some of these guys. So we're taking it really carefully, checking all the equipment and making sure that everything was fit last night. So it was quite a late night last night getting everything ready for today, because having the 2 races together, you can't afford to get it wrong. I mean, yesterday it was quite bouncy out there, and as soon as we went out, the alarms on the engines were screaming at us. So we were sort of praying that we'd get around, and in fact it turned out that we did. So quite pleased with the performance so far.
The boats are all powered by twin 180 horsepower 2.5 litre engines, but there are various types of propeller that can be used, and choosing the right one on any given day is a real challenge.
The propellers itself, it's mysterious. You can have several propellers that look from the eye completely the same, but the handle's totally different.
The knowledge of it is a science. The different shapes, configurations of propellers will dictate what it does to the boat.
The big secret is the probes for me. It's like a wheel on the car, so you choose the good probe for the good course. So depends the course, it's short or long or too many turns, you need to choose a good probe in it.
A 4-blade, faster on top end for sure. A 5-blade will stay hooked up more through the corners. Coming out of the corners, the slippage will be less. But with a 5-blade on top end, you get more stern lift, which I don't like that because it kind of messes up the handling. So right now, I'm not a big fan of the 5 blades.
Regarding the setup, when you decide the kind of propeller that is good for your boat, after we have more kind of pitch of propeller, size of propeller, that means the smaller size for raft race and bigger size for flat race. When it's flat, you can have a bigger propeller to have more speed.
And all that comes from testing. propeller after propeller after propeller. You have to have the seat time and the experience to know and feel what your boat's doing. And like if you were not a race car driver and you drove the car, you wouldn't be able to feel if it was 2 or 3 pounds of air pressure out, but a professional race car driver would. In our case with the propellers, if we run the boat and I feel that the back of the boat needs to come up a little bit, I'll use a propeller that actually lifts the back of the boat. Or if it's rough water, we put a propeller on that makes the boat handle better in rough water. And it's just that fine tuning that prevents the next guy from getting in front of you.
It's very hard to find good propellers, and when you find the good propellers, you treat them like your own baby. You definitely do. So we have a couple of propellers, and we'll work a lot on the setup to just obtain the better average speed through the whole course.
The race takes place offshore of downtown Abu Dhabi, with 7 laps around Lulu Island. But with some very rough waters, the organisers have opted to use the storm course, which keeps the boats protected this side of a breakwater.
Well, the sea state's changed quite dramatically since yesterday. We've got about a 2-metre swell out there at the moment, and it's probably peaking just a little bit higher than that. And we're lucky here we have a breakwater around the island that gives us a channel protected. So we're going to run them inside that. So we're running pretty much on the flat water, but we have an entry and an exit to that, which is going to give us a bit of excitement because that's still got the swell. So they're going to have to really be careful in that vicinity. But at least it's a short hit of that, and it allows our rescue crews to be available properly.
So the late change of course will throw up some extra challenges for our teams, who will now have to rethink the setup of the boats, including of course choice of propeller. And beaten in the first 3 rounds, Extreme Marine have already secured enough points to wrap up the title. But just 3 points separate Lux Media and Abu Dhabi Racing Team, with 20 points still available for the race win. The results of round 3 give us the starting order for round 4. So it's Extreme Marine on pole from Lux Media, Abu Dhabi Racing, Qatar Team, Mystic Oil and outgoing champions La Vida Loca in 6th. It also means Fazza will have to start at the very back. Lot of work for Fazza to do here then in the final round of the X-Cats. Round 4 about to get underway, and of course they're offshore for the start of this race, so it's going to be very rough water for them as they line up here. The committee boat nearest to us and the effective pole sitters, Extreme Marine, the black boat nearest to camera. But right on the outside there at the top of the screen, the other black boat, Fazza, has had a terrific start. So watch out for them. On board meanwhile with Abu Dhabi Racing, side by side with Lux Media. The pair of these battling for 3rd place in the championship, and the boat almost tips there. Look how rough it is. Likewise, Lux Media catch a nasty wave there and drop back behind the green boat of Abu Dhabi Racing and Extreme Marine, the champions elect here, who are unbeaten so far in this series. But watch for Fazza. They're a long way to the left and coming across from the outside, but they had a terrific start and they might well be in the mix here. Yes, indeed they are. Look to the top of the screen. Fazza, from almost the very back of the field, have got their noses in front, but they've got to come across now on the right-hand mark, so they still haven't got this one sorted out. The Qatar Team on board with them. They've dropped back a little bit from 4th place. And alongside them, La Vida Loca, the outgoing champions, who've had a poor start to the year, but were very good in round 3 and came home in 6th place. Rock Racing have had a fantastic start. The British boys like the rough conditions, and from 8th, they, I reckon, are already up into the top 5 here as they head towards the first mark. Mystic Oil, the Swedish boat, has had a terrific season so far, but they've fallen back a little bit at the start of this race. And nearest to us then, Fazza have got the lead of this race. And from 8th place, the white boat of Rock Racing is going for 2nd position here. Lux Media falling further back. 2 2nd place finishes from the 3 races so far, but they've dropped back out, I reckon, of the top 6 here. So Fazza are going to get the lead from, what, 16th place, something like that at the start of this race. Rock Racing are in this battle for 2nd position. Through the first mark then go the race leaders, Nadir Bin Hendy, Arif Al Safin. They led the first round, but then it all went wrong for them. Rock Racing, oh, they catch a nasty wave there as well as they turn in to the calmer section, supposedly calmer section. Of course, the boats probably aren't going to be set up for the rough waters because most of the race is going to be run behind the breakwater. There's contact there between Mystic Oil and the orange boat of La Vida Loca. Here's a replay from La Vida Loca's point of view. And they're coming across for the mark, and I just don't think they saw to the inside of them there. The Swedish boats, a pretty heavy contact there, and we'll have to keep an eye on the progress of both boats. But meanwhile up front, Fazza lead the way, and everybody else has got a face full of spray. And then Extreme Marine have managed to hold 2nd place because Rock Racing had the outside line going through turn 1, and so Extreme Marine, the championship leaders, chasing Fazza. Pretty much the same story as we had at the start of the previous day's race, round 3 of the championship. On board with Lux Media offshore, they've dropped back a bit. Look to the inside of them there. It's the number 5 boat, the spirit of Abu Dhabi, which hasn't really been in the points much this season. They've had a really good start here from quite a long way down the field. The number 5 boat just on the fringes of the top 6. There's the black boat of Miss Sea Coil, which was involved in that collision with the orange machine there of the 2009 champions La Vida Loca. In between them, Al Quwain. So all 3 boats still running, and running just inside the top 10 in the points. Meanwhile, the spectacular backdrop of Abu Dhabi, here are the 2 leaders. Faza pulling away just like they did in the previous day's race, round 3. So looking for the first win of the season, having won the final round of the 2009 championship. They would have come into this season looking to win the title. Both men inside that boat, the lead boat, are Class 1 world champions, multiple Class 3 world champions, the predecessor to XCATs, and also leading this year's Class 1 world championship. So winning is all that counts for those boys, and they're winning here. But the boat behind in second place, Extreme Marine, is the boat that's going to win this year's championship. To some extent, it gives the pair of them some scope to have a good race here, because neither of them really has to worry about points. The 2 leaders then about to turn behind the breakwater for the first time this weekend. Protection from those rough waters. There's the green boat of Abu Dhabi Racing in 3rd place, forever 3rd. Had 3 third place finishes in the 3 races so far this season. Battling for 4th place, then the black 33 Faza boat, which DNF'd in round 3, so that's come from a long way back. And Lux Media there in 5th position. Abu Dhabi Racing then, terrific onboard shot here, looking back, and a headache-inducing ride for them as they head the waves. Here's a replay of the start from the virtual eye tracking system. Look to the top of the screen, and the 3 boat of Faza, absolutely perfect getaway. Abu Dhabi and Extreme Marine then dropping Lux Media, who hit a nasty wave and dropped back into the pack. And then the 66 boat of Rock Racing, from 8th place for an instant, got into 2nd place there, but then they had to take the wide line around the first mark, and that is why Extreme Marine managed to sneak back into 2nd place. So there's drama there for La Vida Loca. An early retirement for the 2009 champions. It may be related to that collision with Miss Sea Coil, so they're out, but we got plenty more to come here after the break.